Coming up on Small Town Big Deal. To the National Winston Churchill Museum, which includes a church they moved all the way from London to Missouri. And then
we become enraptured by Raptors.
Welcome to Small Town Big Deal. I've traveled across the country and firmly believe that the people in small towns are the hands that keep America strong. So join me, Rodney Miller, as I show you the great things these people do on Small Town Big Deal. Welcome to Small Town Big Deal. We're in Fulton, Missouri, 110 miles west of St. Louis.
The population here is nearly 13,000, and the city's named after Robert Fulton, the inventor of the steamboat.
But the man who really put this town on the map? Winston Churchill.
That's right. Now, I know what you're thinking. Great guy, Prime Minister of Great Britain during World War II, but what does he have in common with Fulton, Missouri?
Well, you're about to find out.
It all centers around Westminster College.
Just after World War II, the college president was bold enough to send an invitation to the great Winston Churchill to come and speak.
At the bottom of that invite was a personal request from a very important friend, U.S. President Harry Truman. As they say, the rest is history.
Churchill accepted, and his address became known as the Iron Curtain Speech.
From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent.
Because of that historic visit, Fulton is now home to some very cool stuff.
The National Churchill Museum, a 17th century church moved all the way from England, and the longest contiguous section of the Berlin Wall anywhere in America.
We met up with Museum Executive Director Dr. Rob Havers, who tells us why Churchill's speech became so famous.
Churchill comes here in 1946 with the embers of World War II still aglow in Europe, and he warns really of another threat, the Soviet Union.
He was really a prophet in that time.
He was, absolutely, and the speech he delivered then really marks the beginning of the next 40 years and what we now know was the Cold War.
I know there's a ton to see. I wouldn't get started.
Yeah, me too.
Museum curator Liz Murphy agreed to give us a private tour.
The museum looks at Winston Churchill's life from the very beginning stages all the way through to the Winston Churchill that we know today.
You meet him as a small boy and find out he wasn't the best of students.
And we were surprised to learn what his own father thought of him.
He didn't really think he was going to go very far, and he kind of wrote him off.
But Churchill prevailed. Here he is at the Sandhurst Royal Military Academy.
Not the roly-poly guy we were used to.
No, he is a young, strapping soldier ready for battle.
Speaking of battle, World War I and trench warfare.
We are in a replica British World War I trench. And if you would peek your head up over the trench, you would probably get it shot. So they had to come up with creative ways to peek over and to see what their enemies were doing. They came up with the periscope.
Wow.
See any enemy up there?
There are plenty of enemy.
Next, the Gathering Storm Room. Some call it the Hitler Room.
Right here we have a photograph of Adolf Hitler in the way that he pictured himself, as a statesman, as a leader. However, Winston Churchill saw him differently. He was warning people about Hitler as he was coming to power. And to depict this, Rodney, if you'll put your 2 feet right there, stand in Winston Churchill's shoes and look up, you will see how Winston Churchill saw Adolf Hitler.
As a raging madman.
As a raging madman, exactly, yes. Someone who was bent on destruction and just wanted power.
A great display.
Next, we made our way through bombed-out London that featured a movie with authentic wartime film clips.
I think this is what Rodney's been waiting to see.
This is.
Is that the chair that Churchill sat in?
The chair that Winston Churchill sat in when he spoke in 1946.
Wow.
And the podium that Winston Churchill spoke behind. I wouldn't sit in it. You could almost feel the history, but not quite.
Almost sitting in the chair that Winston Churchill sat.
Did you feel his presence?
Yes, I did. I just needed a cigar.
On that historic day, the Flutonians went the whole 9 yards, tons of homemade banners and a parade.
It was a great day for Fulton, both the President of the United States and the previous Prime Minister of Great Britain in one town.
Obviously, it shows how Churchill was loved so much here in America.
Our final stop showed us the private side of Churchill as a husband and a father.
And a man who even found time for hobbies. He was a painter. The museum has 3 of his original paintings.
I can't believe how much we saw today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and it was actually only half of what we have here.
Wow, and the amazing thing is all this was underground.
That's right. You won't believe what's above our heads.
Before the museum existed, Westminster College was looking for a way to commemorate Churchill's visit, but they weren't just thinking a plaque or a statue, they were thinking something big.
This wonderful church, St. Mary Aldermanbury, partially destroyed in the London Blitz and slated for demolition, was brought from London in the 1960s.
How exactly do you move a church from London to Fulton, Missouri?
Bring it across the Atlantic, stone by stone, brick by brick. Incendiary bombs went through the roof, destroyed all the woodwork, but left the outer walls largely intact. And it's those outer walls and the bell tower that are brought from London.
What had to be done to reconstruct the church was nothing short of amazing.
These are some of the 7,000 stones that were numbered and then shipped across the Atlantic here to Fulton and then put all back together.
All of the columns survived, but some of the tops had to be recreated to match the original.
They got an original Christopher Wren pulpit, had it shipped over, and installed it.
Every one of these panes was hand-blown by a company in West Virginia to look just like they were in the 17th century.
And these are the steps from the 12th century. They used to lead to a crypt, but now up to the bell tower. Not the bells, another ladder, okay? It's a little shaky. There are 5 bells, and they chime here on the campus every quarter hour! Wow!
But the grandest thing of all is this magnificent organ.
The organ was built by a man who had been a firefighter in London during the Blitz and saw the church burn. Wow, nice job.
Thank you.
Dave Newton is a student here at Westminster.
Tell me, Dave, what does it feel like to play something like this?
This is the most powerful instrument in the world, so obviously it's, it sends chills down my spine, and there's really no other experience like it.
Really cool.
I heard the organ, and I knew you would be up here. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. So we've seen the museum, we've seen the church, got to get our coats and go see the most recent piece of history.
Let's go.
Coming up next, Berlin comes to Fulton, Missouri.
Dr. Havers, this is really impressive.
Rodney gets an English lesson, in tea that is. And ever hand feed an eagle?
It's time to man up with Massey. Take it from the dairy farmers who already have.
It's a great tractor, absolutely excellent fuel economy, and it's dependable.
CVT is great, you never have to shift.
I liked it because it goes real slow.
It makes you more productive.
They're the best performing tractor out there.
We're not just out to change your tractor. We're out to change the game. Go to manupwithmassey.com.
For 110 years, Morton Buildings has served the needs of the American farmer. Today, we continue to construct farm buildings while also offering custom stall barns, workshops, garages, and commercial facilities. From concept through completion, Morton Buildings handles every aspect of your project. Join generations of customers who've discovered the quality and dependability of a Morton building. For more information and to get started on your building project, call 800-447-7436 or visit our website at mortonbuildings.com.
Come on, guys. We're down by 1. We got the second half to go.
Introducing the world's most dedicated soccer mom.
So embarrassing.
On the world's fastest lawnmower. Dixie Chopper. The world's fastest lawnmower.
We're exploring the National Churchill Museum in Fulton, Missouri, which includes a church moved all the way from England. What could be next?
Well, if Churchill's Iron Curtain speech delivered here marked the beginning of the Cold War, what marked the end? The fall of the Berlin Wall.
Wow. Dr. Havers, this is really impressive.
People are tremendously impressed that they can come here to Westminster College, to Missouri, and see 8 contiguous sections of the Berlin Wall.
On that side of the wall, people couldn't even touch it. This side, they could come out and paint it, and the oppressed world and the free world.
When the Berlin Wall was coming down, Churchill's granddaughter, Edwina Sands, who's an artist, saw a great opportunity because she'd always wanted to create something special to honor her grandfather's visit to Fulton.
So she goes to Berlin, persuades the East Germans to part with 8 contiguous sections, and does so at a time when pieces of the Berlin Wall are selling for between $60,000 to $200,000. She persuades them to give them to her.
She titled the piece The Breakthrough Sculpture, which allows each visitor to step through the wall by using the silhouettes she carved out.
You know, I'm really humbled at the historical significance of this wall and what it means to walk through it. Freedom.
Between 1961 and 1989, 136 people lost their lives just trying to get to the other side of this wall.
If you make a trip to Fulton to see the wall, you'll be part of a long list of important visitors. In 1990, Ronald Reagan dedicated the sculpture.
Other dignitaries include former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and former President of Poland, Lech Wałęsa.
It's beginning to feel a little bit like Berlin in the middle of winter, so if we go inside, we have a bit of a surprise for you.
I like surprises.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, thank you.
Hot tea.
I think it's high tea.
Well, pardon me.
This is a high tea selection that we serve in the museum to special guests. Classic English afternoon fare, Empire biscuits, mince pies, petit fours, homemade scones, and Devonshire cream, watercress sandwiches, cucumber sandwiches, a wonderful spread.
We learned they offer up this royal treatment to groups who want to do something extra special during their visit to the museum.
Now, this was my very first high tea. Do you think anyone could tell?
What'd you call these?
Scones.
Scones?
Scones.
These are Empower?
These are Empire biscuits.
What was it called?
It's a petit four.
A what? And the scones are just kind of like fancy biscuits?
Yes, they are.
Does watercress have like mayonnaise and stuff on it?
Made with a little bit of cream cheese.
Are we supposed to put that on our scones?
That goes on the scone with a bit of jam as well.
Okay, maybe it was a little obvious.
Truth be told, it was my first high tea as well, and I wasn't quite sure how to use that fancy teapot.
Now this is not what I make my tea with at home. I heat mine in the microwave.
Does it make you feel good being from Britain that you're kind of telling the story of Churchill here in America?
Being a Brit and talking about Churchill in this country is an honor and a pleasure. And Winston Churchill is revered almost more in this country often than he is back home in Britain.
Do you feel that the museum is sort of a hidden gem?
It's a constant battle to get it better known. Whenever anybody comes here, they're always amazed to learn there is a church moved from England that dates from 1677, and that there is this wonderful National Churchill Museum that brings to life history and Winston Churchill in the fashion that you experience today.
A toast to more people learning about this hidden gem.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers.
After thanking Dr. Havers, it was off to the Loganberry Inn.
It's a short walk from the museum, the food is heavenly, and the rooms historic.
I stayed in President Lech Wałęsa's room, the Nobel Prize winner.
Right. I got to stay in British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher's room, the room she slept in.
So you could be the next VIP to stay there, and your entire visit to Fulton will be filled with history.
Next up, we have a hoot with some low-level flyers. Meet a crow that rakes in the dough.
Good girl! And get wowed by America's national symbol.
It's time to man up with Massey. Take it from the farmers who already have.
We were John Deere, that was in our blood. We are now colorblind. We are looking for value.
Simply just gets the job done. I have to say, Massey opened my eyes. This isn't your daddy's Massey Ferguson.
We're not just out to change your tractor. We're out to change the game. Go to manupwithmassey.com.
Hi, I'm Rodney Miller, host of Small Town Big Deal. I recently got wind of a way to make my pond picture perfect, and it's all thanks to my good friend Jann Rodney at Outdoor Water Solutions.
Thanks, Rodney. At Outdoor Water Solutions, we manufacture a wide range of pond products, including the windmill aeration system that you see behind me. So if your pond has moss on the top or black muck or organic matter on the bottom, then you need to look at our products.
And John, how can our viewers find out about you?
You can go to our website, which is outdoorwatersolutions.com.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
Tucked away just 20 miles southwest of St. Louis is the small town of Valley Park, Missouri.
Population just under 7,000.
We're about a mile from Valley Park, up in the woods, and there are some really big things happening here.
That's right, it's a 305-acre facility. It's the World Bird Sanctuary, and their motto here, let your spirit take wing.
Everywhere you look, you are eye to very big eye with an amazing array of some of nature's finest feathered friends.
The sanctuary, established in 1977, was the brainchild of Walter Crawford. His love of birds began at the very young age of 2, when his father bought him a flock of chickens.
We're shaking, boys. Yeah.
How did you go from the little boy with the chickens to, I am going to create a World Bird Sanctuary?
I wasn't planning on this, to be honest with you.
Actually, this was not a plan at all.
Every morning I get up and say, what did I do?
What he did was establish one of the leading wildlife and conservation centers for birds of prey in the United States. But it definitely began with very humble beginnings.
Started out in my basement, with my son as my only volunteer. And unfortunately, didn't have child labor laws yet. He worked pretty hard. He still lasts to this day,
Well, Walter's idea really took flight, and last year alone, more than 400 injured birds were brought into their hospital.
Is this patient still here?
Yes, and it's going to be here for quite a while.
If one has a broken wing, do you have a good chance to get him to fly again?
Depends on where it's broke. That wing right there is a good candidate for repair because it's not at the joints.
Walter says the best days are when a bird is well enough for them to release back into the wild.
We all went to see how the bird from the X-ray was doing. We found Roger Holloway and Joe Hoffman getting the feisty patient out for treatment.
We have a juvenile trumpeter swan. Its wing was broken 5 different spots.
Oh.
We're giving it some antibiotics.
Where's the spoonful of sugar, right?
Now we're going to give it its spoonful of sugar. And this is a lot of romaine lettuce and spinach and eggs. Ooh. And we're going down into its stomach a little bit. Well, with this neck, we're really not down in the stomach.
Soon he was back in his cage and we were on to the next patient. Never in my life did I think I'd be this up close and personal with an American bald eagle.
One of our Missouri Department of Conservation agents brought us this bird. It has an injury up in the shoulder, so you don't see too much wrong with them, but they just can't fly away.
It will take this 1-year-old eagle another 3 to 4 years before his eyes and beak become yellow, and he gains his traditional white feathered head and tail.
So we're going to hand feed him. We're going to give you two a chance at this too, and I'll get started here. Hold it. There you go. Good.
Whoa, no, don't take those.
Success.
Success. Oh, I feel like a mama. Okay.
Then it was my turn.
You filled him up, I think. Let me try a different piece here.
Then I found out he didn't just want one piece, he wanted the entire bowl.
No, this is really interesting that he won't take the...
Our national symbol can be pretty stubborn.
Now I've got to be successful.
All right.
There you go.
There. Thank you.
Joe and Roger told us both the eagle and the swan will recover and be released back into the wild.
Today, a red-tailed hawk is scheduled to fly the coop and join the other wild hawks in the area, and they're going to let me help with the release.
Okay, we're entering our flight cage.
The trick is catching the fully recovered patient. This must be how Joe gets his workouts.
Well, this is not easy.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how he's going to catch him.
Then a lucky break. The hawk drops to the ground long enough for Joe to grab him.
And he's ready to go.
Wow.
Which was a good thing because he was getting pretty winded. Joe, that is, not the hawk.
What's he saying to you right now?
He's threatening. It's in a threatening mode, ready to attack. We better watch out.
And you're going to hand him.
And I'm going to hand him to you.
And he's in attack mode. No wonder you didn't volunteer.
The care and rehabilitation of a bird can cost up to $1,000 or more. But if you contribute just $150, you can come and be a part of the release of a wild bird of prey.
You're going to stand here, and you're going to throw upward and outward that way. I'm going to hand you.
Okay, go have a nice, long, happy life.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, 5!
You did it.
Look at that!
Wow.
Yay! He ruffled his feathers and he nailed the landing.
While releasing the hawk was probably the highlight of the day, or maybe the year for Jann, we were about to witness what I'd been waiting for all day. This is Clark, an 11-year-old American bald eagle, and this is the sanctuary's lead eagle trainer, Roger Wallace. He's been working with Raptors for nearly 40 years and known Clark since the day he was hatched.
How many people in America get to do what you do?
Very few, probably a couple of dozen.
You never get over it?
No, you never get tired of it.
The bald eagle is now off the endangered list and even the threatened list, thanks to places like the World Bird Sanctuary.
This is a moment when you just have to say, you were so glad that Ben Franklin did not get his way, and the turkey is not the national
quite as majestic.
No, I'm very glad that the American bald eagle became the official bird of the United States of America.
Go on. Clark has to stay in shape because he's a member of the sanctuary's flying team. That team is part of their many different educational programs, including the very popular Owl Prowl.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Mike, and I work for the World Bird Sanctuary, and helping me tonight is Catherine.
It wasn't very long before they had us getting very acquainted with the stars of the show.
This is Trevor. He's an eagle owl. They are the largest species of owl in the world.
Trevor was like a low-level bomber, but stealth like a BT because you can't hear him coming.
This is a vulture wing, and listen closely to how much noise this wing makes. It makes a lot of noise. Now listen to this owl wing.
It doesn't make any movement.
Yeah, you don't hear anything. They have specially designed feathers for silent flight. This is a full-grown eastern screech owl named Timber, who's very excited to be out here.
Throughout the night, we saw several species of owls and learned a lot.
It doesn't matter how low you duck, he'll just fly lower. So.
There was one non-owl participant of the evening, and she had a very important role.
Good girl. If anybody wants to help out World Bird Sanctuary with an additional donation, we have a crow here that will gladly accept your money. Thank you very much, Jann.
The night's final activity was to call out to the wild owls in the area to see if one would answer back.
You know, we did hear one just a second ago.
Yeah, a barred owl just answered over there. Cool. Yeah, well, we'll try to get closer to that.
All right.
Thank you guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to World Bird Sanctuary.
Thank
you. You're welcome.
I had so much fun. I'm never going to forget the World Bird Sanctuary.
The bald eagles, they were so majestic. And then to get to go to Winston Churchill's museum.
And to almost sit in his chair.
Almost. I really wanted to.
If you've got a great story you'd like us to tell, please go to our website and submit your idea, because you never know, we might be in your town next.
And remember to join us again next week when once again we celebrate the great stories from across America.
Prime Minister of Great Britain during World War II, a
Great
giant,
I'm sorry. I talked
That's my line, man. Get more excited. Well, we're about to show you.
We're about to show you.
Like when you order patty melts and stuff.